So you've seen one desktop versus laptop. Here's another one. The Asus G752 overclock. Let's see how it fares. Hi, this is Stephen from Owner Disown, and in our last video we did a desktop smash up against the overclocked MSI GT73VR, the MSI GT62VR with the 1070 in it, against my desktop here with the 980 Ti and the overclocked i7-4790K CPU. So this time I thought, well, it was close last time, so this time I thought, let's pitch in the Asus G752. It's got the KB Lake i7-7820HK CPU, so it has a lot of grunt in there. It, in fact, overclocks to 4.4 GHz. So let's have a look at the results. So first up is Passmark 8's creativity test. This measures things like video editing, Photoshop work, web browsing. It uses a mixture of CPU power, memory and GPU. Due to the fast CPU in the Asus, it comes very close to beating the MSI GT73VR. That's a respectable score considering the MSI has a GTX 1080 in it. I'm afraid my Euro desktop got left in the dust, so 3 points to MSI, 2 to Asus and 1 to the desktop. Now Passmark is a similar test, but it does use more GPU and also hard drive. It was near on a tie between the Asus and the desktop, but the desktop did pivot, so that's 3 points to the MSI, 2 points to the desktop, 1 for the Asus. So total scores, Asus 3, desktop 3, MSI 6. The results in TimeSpy are quite predictable. The MSI GT73VR with its GTX 1080 steams to ahead, and the Asus with the GTX 1070 claims second, and the one-year-old desktop fairly close though, but still third. So MSI 9 points, Asus 5, desktop 4. Firestrike follows the same pattern as TimeSpy, so 3 points for MSI, 2 for Asus, 1 for the desktop. MSI has now got 12 points, Asus 7, desktop 5. So let's take a look at the Cinebench CPU benchmark, and it is very close between the Asus and the desktop. In fact, if the Asus was clocked at 4.2 GHz, it would have got beaten here. Look at the lowly i7-6820HK. It gets panned by the its replacement KB Lake processor. So the scores now, MSI 13, Asus 10, desktop 7. So let's take a look at the Cinebench OpenGL benchmark. Desktop at the top, MSI on the left, and Asus bottom right. So here the desktop takes a commanding lead over the MSI and the Asus. So total score, MSI 15, Asus 11, desktop closes the gap, now 10. So my Handbrake test is a CPU test, and it encodes a 4GB MP4 file. And as you can see, the desktop clearly wins again, but that i7-7820HK Asus is very close, leaving the i7-6820 in the dust. So total score now, MSI 16, Asus 13, desktop is now tied at 13. Now the last test is Grand Theft Auto 5. Now this is a good one to finish on because it's a very CPU intensive game. At 4.4 GHz, the Asus even beats the GTX 1080 MSI. If you used the stock clocks on the Asus, it would have yielded 107 frames per second, allowing the desktop to beat it. That would have yielded a tie between the Asus and the desktop. But as the result stands, the MSI gets 18 points, Asus 16, desktop 14. That is a good set of results there, and I think it might surprise quite a few of you. Certainly it was close with the MSI GT62VR, but the extra CPU muscle, in the Asus here, certainly helps out a lot. Of course, the graphics card in the MSI here is a 1080 after all, so that fared fairly well. Although the Asus did beat it in Grand Theft Auto 5, because it is a CPU centric game really, and the extra oomph in the CPU really powered this one through there. It's rather amazing. And last came the desktop. Perhaps I should retire it and throw it in the skip now, eh? So I think we can prove that gaming laptops can do better than the desktop. Granted, this is $2,500, so, you know, it's not quite the same cost as a desktop, of course, I know that. But, you know, if they can bring these prices down, make them more affordable, for example, the GT62VR was only $1,400. If you can put the higher clocked CPUs in some of these laptops and still make it affordable, I think they've got a case. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks again. Thumbs up if you like it, and subs if you really like it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.